Hello, I'm Don Conklin, and this is the idt585 final response to the RFP. This is concerning the 5 emerging information technology in relationship to my association, which is AAUP. The 5 emerging, hope this goes better than this as this goes on: augmented reality, intelligent personal assistance, Internet of Things, personalization, and telepresence. The American Association of University Professors can be found at www.aaup.org. And my button's not working here, so let's jump over. It should work now. My DMP, the digital media property that I worked with in other classes, and we went on that synergy theme. We using the handle tech emerge. Throw that together. So both the Twitter site and the WordPress site is using the same handle. So for the WordPress, it is techemerg.wordpress.com. You notice there's a gentleman in front of the class. It looks like a college class. It's got the name on it, Emerging Technologies in Higher Education. And I'm going to click down and I'll click back. You see where he's being used on both the Twitter site and the WordPress site. Jumping back here, if you were to change the banner picture here, for one, like say you changed a topic, something in particular that catches your eye that you want to change the topic, you would change both of them to reflect them going back and forth. They are slightly different, but unless you have them side by side, you're not going to notice there's that much difference. I threw a young lady there with her college hat on, showing that yes, this is emerging tech, and she's graduating and everything's beautiful. Gave a little information around there, and away we go. The Twitter account, of which is still TECHEMERG. You can pronounce it any way you want. As long as you're just reading it, I guess you really don't need to pronounce it. Going to the next slide. When you're building this digital media, you need synergy. That's what I just spoke about, like the picture being the same, the handle being the same. So as you're going through and you get to the other portion where you actually see my RFP, response to RFP, the top banner of the page is also pretty much the same picture. So it's all kind of flows together. So it follows. You notice the synergy here between the two portions. Actually, there's 3 portions when you have something like this. You have your blog, you have your microblog, and then you have the little synergy in between them. So when you're looking at the Twitter site there, I can point it here with my finger, but I guess that doesn't help you see it at all. The embedded picture, the embedded first few lines going from on the WordPress going into, the only problem is the WordPress has to be done first before you can do the Twitter site, which sometimes I do the Twitter site first and then the blogs, but in this case, for that to be embedded like that, you do the blog first, and using the Twitter site as the outreach into the community, and then they come back for more, I guess, the meat and potatoes of the information would be on the blog site. This is the picture of a snapshot of the WordPress site. So this is one of the blogs that I put in there. I would have liked, as a verbiage says there, put about 4 or 5 of the last Twitter feeds down the side. I did that before in the past. Ran out of time. If I knew how to do it exactly, I probably could have been able to fit it in, but I ran out of time. But that would be the thought, that you have the WordPress in the Twitter, and the Twitter in the WordPress, so it goes back and forth, so you can easily go in between them. I started out my blog by making a clear understanding of what the site is all about. Here, as it says down there on the bottom, the committee who selected me or the company to do the work for them, they knew who we are, they know our mission statement, they know where we came from, our history, all stuff like that. But the general user, I mean, it would give a better understanding of who we are and what we can provide them. And I made a little mission statement there, and I went through and say who we are, and I gave a little history about, you know, the people who actually worked at this fake company. My extended blog, I tried it on different angles, but working with that thought process before of who we are and making that, I went into great detail about the 5 emerging technologies. You can see there the 5 there with their graphics. A little continuation here. The corresponding between the states is, it's about being a partner, bringing in the emerging technologies to higher education for the common good. The WordPress blogs go into great detail on each of the emerging technologies. I started out by giving the textbook definition, very similar to you did on your wiki for your syllabus, and with the definitions, and then give a little graphic, and then went into explain how the technology can be used for the association. These definitions in detail are partnering. I try to make a graphic that would support the verbiage. On my the one thing I noticed on looking at my stuff and a lot of the other folks, you have a tendency to grab one of the technologies, and I noticed like the Internet of Things. It's a very easy thing to get excited about, to show, because it touches your hands. So it's, of the 5 technologies, I think a person doing one of these types of blogs or Twitter sites needs to be careful not to get stuck on 1 or 2. And I have the little example there of the Internet of Things, because I mean, everybody likes a cool phone. I don't say everybody, but you know, you have to make sure you don't leave other things. Like in the bottom there, I have some tunneling about telepresence. It's kind of dry stuff, but it's really stuff that would be nice to know, because that's the driving force behind all the Internet of Things are the tunnels of telepresence. My small blog, I did a little thing here. Before I get to that, here's the relevance of the audience in the case of the AAUP. And what I was saying is, you have to make sure that your blogs and your tweets are relevant to the audience and to the topic. Saying this right here, the 5 emerging technologies. My tweet stated: the future higher education, who you are, with no weeding and lots of personalization and inclusion. In my day, 30 years ago, weeding was the big thing in engineering, and the technologies and the people going through now, you talk to some of the kids I work with, have the concept of weeding's not there. I'm not saying it's a good thing, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a different world, and it's the direction things are going with personalization. And so I tried to go into this short blog here saying how the personalization and inclusion, how that fits into my association, which is the AAUP. I thank you very much for stopping in. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate. Have a fine day and a good rest of your summer.